Hello my friends and welcome back to a new video. This is actually the part 2 of the TEMU gear camp, or rather can TEMU provide me with accurate or correct camping gear, or quality camping gear rather. The first video I did, where I did a hammock setup and camped out with that. This is the part 2 of that, because it's still a hammock thing, actually this one has the same rules as before. The rules before were I need to have myself a setup that will keep me dry, warm and out of the wind and weather. So what's up with the part 2 then? Well, in the first one I bought myself a setup that actually was for late spring, summer and early autumn, temperature wise. So I thought like this: well, now we have done those 3 seasons, or part of those 3 seasons. Now we need to do the other 3, the late autumn, the winter and the early spring. There are simple ways to do this, and there are a little bit more complicated ways to do this. The simple way had been just to add a really thick top quilt to the hammock setup, and then go with that. But what's the fun with that? We have already done the quilt thing and the setup with the hammock and tarp and things. Now we're gonna go a step further. And also in the rules was stated that I had a budget that I didn't choose myself that time, of $100. So what I did was that I just repeated that. This time I'm not sponsored in any way. I don't have any donations. So I set the budget to the same level. It's $100. We're gonna do a winter setup, and we're gonna do it under $100. And there's a twist again. I went the complicated way, as I said. So I'm not gonna manage with $100 if I buy everything. So I haven't bought everything, but I have bought the most important thing. And I said thing because this time it's only a thing. It was expensive enough, I promise you. You will see it soon. I will, as last time, I will talk about the things and I will set them up and test them out. So, but this time we are also gonna cook some food, and I don't want to say too much. You need to look a little bit further on in this video to actually see the things. If I tell them now, I spoil it for you. So I'm not gonna do that. Instead, I'm gonna talk about what we are gonna talk about right now. So the budget was set to $100, and just as the last time, the item is bought on TEMU, and it's gonna make it so I can do winter camping, late autumn and early spring camping with this setup. And I'm gonna reuse some items from the last time, like the hammock, the underquilt, and this is an addition to this. So yeah, don't go away, and don't even look away, because we are gonna talk about what it is right now. Okay then my friends, I have set up my chair here to be a little bit more comfortable. I have the lake behind you there, so I can look out over the lake and see how nice it is. As usual, I'm a little bit late out. It's always like that. This is a weekday, so I'm actually out after work, and I'm gonna start working late tomorrow, so I'm not gonna rush away too early. So we're gonna talk about what it is I have bought, the most interesting thing in this setup, and it's this. What is this then? Well, this is a Hammock Hot Tent. It's a hot tent made for use with a hammock, and I bought this just because I wanted to do a part 2 of my first TEMU video. So this is from TEMU, And the price for this, you have somewhere here. And as you can see on that, it took almost the complete budget. Almost. Because these are a bit expensive. But this cost is still something pretty low. Because when I saw this tent, it reminded me of another tent. Another tent that's actually made by one Tigris. And it looks to be exact, and I say exact, the same tent. With one difference. And that's that this doesn't state one Tigris on it. But everything on the tent, in the tent, around the tent looks exactly the same. Even the pictures on TEMU looks like they are taken from one Tigris homepage, and that they have erased the one Tigris mark on the side, because everything is exactly the same, except for another thing, that the bag is a bit too big. But otherwise, everything is looking exactly like one Tigris tent. So what do we have then? Well, this is actually a pretty complete setup. Oh, there was one strap fall down there because this was a bit open. But in here we have a lot of these ropes that we are going to use for setting up the tent, and we also have these spikes or pegs that we are also going to use. There are, I believe, 14 of these pegs. These are a little bit better version of tent pegs, but you still have to be careful with these because they are pretty easy to bend. We got the tent itself. It's just a simple tent like this, and it comes with a strap, and that's about what it is. There is nothing more to it. So I think I'm gonna start to set this up. Yeah, let's do that. Well, before we start with the tent, we need to get up some ropes. So I'm gonna put this one around here. That might be somewhere we need to be. I'm not sure yet, but we will find out. So let's take the tent and open the strap and don't lose it. I will put it directly in my pocket. And then let's fold it out to see what we have here. I think this is down. Here is, yeah, I remember there were ants here. They're already on me. There is one fastening point, and here is the other one. Like that, and there it is. So it's up. Now I just need to spread it, pin it down. So I have my 6 tent pegs down on the sides. There's gonna be one in the middle on the end there, and one in the middle on the end here. But before I do that, I will actually set up the side, call it straps or whatever, so I can peg it out up here. Yeah, you probably don't see me anymore. I will still film it, but as I said, you probably don't see me at all. So I will do this here in the darkness until it's finished. And then I need to set up the stovepipe, and move things into the tent. So guys, I believe it's time for some cooking. And I will do my cooking in my Dutch oven bottom. So let's place that on right here. And we need to check the fire. It's not really, need to get the fire going a bit here. So we can get the heat up. Otherwise there won't be much cooking. I need some more wood here. Right now it's mostly smoking, not burning. Let's see if we can boost it. Get it going a little bit. Usually just need to get the flame somewhere. Then it will recover by itself. Check the air. Yes, it's okay. Like that. Then we, yeah, now it's going again. So let's fill the bowl with some water. Let's start with that amount. Like that. And what I'm gonna cook today is some soup, because it's a bit cold out. Then it's always nice to have a bit of soup. And it was also pretty easy to prepare for soup, because I could make the most of it at home. That meaning cutting the vegetables and things like that. I pre-cut at home and put in bags, so I don't need to do that out here, because I don't have any table with me. So that makes it a bit harder. So I will start with putting some broth into the water here. A couple of them. To get it a little bit tasty. Seasoning I put together in this bag. So let's put that into the water like that. And now we just need to wait for that to heat up. The broth seems to have dissolved. So start putting in my vegetables here. Oh, let's find them. They are in here. And we're gonna start with these. Like that. Then we're gonna have some carrots right here. Potatoes, they are down here. Like that. Then I have some celery, you know, it's something like that. And I have the meat that will go in later. And that's about it, I believe. Yeah, that's it. So these will go in a little bit later, but for now I need to cook this up. So I just stoked the fire and back to the waiting game. Okay, then this has been cooking for a while now, and it seems to be ready for the rest of the ingredients. So I'm gonna start to put them in. Just gonna move my light a little bit here. So to start with, I'm gonna put in the meat here. Like that. And then I got one more vegetable here. It's going in, and it's this. It's onion, like that, green onion. So that's all the ingredients. Now this has to cook for a while more. I'm just gonna stir this a little bit. I think I need to add more water. I'm gonna try to do that without burning myself. I believe that's the water I got in this one. So, well, actually I have more, but I don't think I need any more. I think that's enough. Yeah, that's plenty enough. So this has to cook now for 15 minutes more. So I'm gonna stoke the fire once more to get it going good again. Like that. And then we close it up. And then we wait for 15-20 minutes, and the food should be ready. Okay then guys, I think my food here is pretty much finished for eating. It looks like it's done. So I'm gonna serve myself a portion here and get myself some food. Like that. That looks pretty nice. And with this, I'm gonna have some bread that I bought, and that's about it. So yeah, I'm gonna eat now, and after that I think it's time for bed. I will resume my filming in the morning instead, when I have more light, more natural light. But now I'm gonna eat, and if we don't see each other more this night, I will see you in the morning. Good morning, my friends. It's about 6:45, I believe. I'm just lying here in the hammock, chilling out. I woke up about 5 minutes ago. I relighted the stove and I put some eggs on boil on the stove. So I'm waiting for those to boil up, and then I'm gonna have myself a bit of egg sandwich for breakfast. Unfortunately, I don't have enough water to make myself any coffee. I believe I will investigate that a little bit later. I only have half of a bottle of drinking water, and I don't want to spend it on coffee. So, but I'm gonna chill out here a little bit more before I start the day for real. So see you in a bit. Cheers. I decided to make myself a coffee, so I did that. So here's my coffee, and I thought that I would talk a little about the tent and the setup and everything, how it has worked and things like that, and look at some details also. So what is this? Well, it's a Hammock Hot Tent. It's actually pretty much just a hot tent, but they have adapted it so you can get a hammock to hang inside of the tent, and then you have stove jack and actually there is 2 stove jacks. You can see them here, and the reason for having 2 stove jacks like that is because you have the ability to choose how you want to route your stovepipe. And why would you like to have the ability to choose how to route your stovepipe? Well, that's because like I have now, I have the stovepipe going up through the roof stove jack. That meaning that I have a straight pipe up. Let's say that this was in the middle of the winter and it was snowing heavily. Snow would then hit my stovepipe that's hot, making the snow go back to being water. The water would drip down along the stovepipe, and when it comes down to the stove, it would be pretty much steam. And that steam would then travel around in the tent, making everything damp inside of the tent. You don't want damp tent in the winter time. That's why you use wood stoves and not gas stoves, especially propane, because that's a wet fuel. You know that. So what you can do then is to route your stovepipe out through the side wall stove jack instead with 2 90s or something. That meaning that any snow that hits the stovepipe on the outside will drip down on the ground on the outside of the tent. That's where you want it. So that's the reason why you have a side stovepipe jack, just to not get especially water inside of your tent, or whatever is coming down, hail or it doesn't matter. The problem is the same. As a stove, I use my own built foldable tent stove that I built last year, and I filmed that. If you haven't seen those, it's 2 episodes. You should go back and check them out, because what I do in those is that I build this stove with simple hand tools and recycled materials. So practically anybody with a little bit of knowledge can do this easily and get themselves a stove to use in a tent like this. because stoves are not super expensive, but they are expensive. You have to spend at least, I believe they start at somewhere just under $200, and then they go up to I don't know how much. You can buy really expensive stoves. That's still money that you perhaps don't have and don't want to spend. But this stove I built for practically free. Not really. There are some consumables that you have to buy, but that's peanuts. And you probably, if you don't try to do it yourself, but you probably have to buy yourself a stovepipe also. I believe you can get stovepipes. Let's say I have seen these stovepipes with 6 pipes. That's enough, at least for this tent, for somewhere around $23, I think it was. So you can get them for pretty cheap. As I said, if you haven't seen the film, please go and check it out. You have the playlist of stove builds down there somewhere. So go down there and check it out. Back to the tent. Well, this is a TEMU tent, and I'm pretty sure, I would say 99% sure that this is a copy of, let's say, this tent. It's so similar in every way. It just needs to have the logo printed on the side down here. Then it would be that tent, but it doesn't. This has no logo anywhere. It's a no-name tent, but it's a straight copy of that tent. And quality-wise, I can't complain. This is probably built in the same factory as that tent I showed you, because it's actually very well done. There is double stitching, there is M3 tape. I can see that the tape that seems with it. You have really good reinforcement everywhere. Unfortunately, I got a hole in my tent, probably definitely from an amber, so I have to fix that. There's a small hole right up in the center area of the tent, and that's guaranteed from an amber. That's not the end of the world. You just have to buy. I'm out of it, but I usually I have with me even tent repair kits. It's like tape, and I try to buy only green tents because the repair kit I have is green. And you put one piece on the inside, and then you put another piece, a patch, on the outside of the hole, and patch it up. And those are green, so they match the tent. And you don't need to make like this big of a patch for that small hole. You only need to make like that big of a patch for that small hole. That one is straight over the hammock. So if it starts to rain, it will start to drip in through that hole, and it will end up straight down in the hammock, and that would not be a nice night. So that has to be addressed. I have a tarp. I have always a tarp with me, just because of the eventuality that this happens while you're using the tent. And let's say it starts raining when you're in the middle of the night and it starts dripping on you. You can take the tarp, you can put it over the tent to make it watertight again. But it's unfortunately something that happens to these lightweight kind of hot tents. This fabric has no resistance to ambers or fire or anything. It burns straight through like in a second. So The only way to protect the tent is to actually have a long stovepipe and have no spark resistors or anything, and try to get the embers to fly straight up as high as possible, so they have time to cool down before they come down again. And if they land on the roof, they should have burnt themselves out before they land. That's shit that happens, so it's not much to do about it. Let's go back talking about the tent itself. Well, the next thing is that this is actually a bad thing with this tent. There is nothing on the roof like hooks or anything, straps, or there's nothing to put up a light or anything. There should have been at least one hook in the middle, or some strap, but there is one thing you can do. That's actually pulling a additional ridge line through on the inside, so you can put lights or whatever you want up in it. On the sides of the doors here, there are one door here and there is one door there, and each door has 3 zippers. One upper zipper, one middle zipper, and one lower zipper. The upper zipper is for closing from the upper side down to your strap. The middle zipper is for closing up from the bottom up to your strap. And the lowest zipper is for opening and closing the door when you have your strap sitting between the 2 other zippers there. So you can actually open your door, go out and in, and then you can close the door. You don't need to move either the middle or the upper zipper that's closing around your hammock strap. The upper zipper there is also a combined ventilation, so you can actually open up this part as much as you want to let air come in here, and you can do the same on that side, so you can get more airflow in the tent. Ventilation, that meaning. So that's a pretty convenient solution, because there is no other ventilation hole anywhere. It's that one and that one you are supposed to use as ventilation on your tent. Further on, there are 6 points around the tent up on this ridge here. This one to secure it down. The corner ones are actually meant to be poles. And then you tie your tie down line in the top of the pole and pull it out. That making the tent more stable if you have one of those poles in each corner. I have poles, but I didn't take them with me, because that's something that doesn't include when you buy these tents. You have to get your own poles or make sticks out from the woods and use. They need to be like 110 centimeters or something long. But as I said, they are not included when you buy this tent. You don't have to have them. But doing it that way, your tent will be even more rigid, especially if there is wind. If it's very windy, it will stiffen up the tent. Otherwise, it will have the ability to swing a little bit more when it's only sitting with lines. And the final thing with the tent is that it has a snow skirt. If you have looked at my AliExpress tent, hot tent camping, I showed you this skirt there, and I explained how it works, and it works the same on this one because it's the same type of skirt. It's also possible to use this tent without having trees around, but to do that you need to get yourself 2 poles. You need one on each end, and then you just take your lines and stake them down to the ground like that, and then this will be a freestanding tent. So you have your stakes one there, and then you should have your poles. Then you should have your poles in the corners also, and that will make the tent rigid enough to stand up to some wind and things. And of course you can use this as a hot tent, ordinary hot tent, without the hammock. You can use a cot or multiple cots in here, so it's not dedicated only for hammock hot tenting. One thing with this tent is that the stove jacks on this one are pre-cut, and the holes are rather big. For my stove pipe, the holes are actually double size against my stovepipe, so there is a lot of free air around the stovepipe there. You can see it here, and that meaning that it can actually rain straight in through the hole also, or snow even in through the hole when it's so big. My suggestion would be to either get one smaller stove jack and change one of them out for a smaller one, or an uncut one that you cut yourself, or buying one of those muffs you can mount on the stove jack that goes down to the size of your stovepipe. Those are actually pretty good because they both help center the stovepipe, and they also are tight around the stovepipe, so you have no openings on them. I believe they are made of some kind of special rubber or something. I don't know exactly. That's it about the tent. I will actually soon start to tear this camp down, and you will see a little bit of that process. Before that, I will also talk a little bit about my evening and my night and the experience with the tent. I must say that I'm really happy with the performance of the tent. It's actually a very good tent, and it's a smart construction having the hammock inside of the tent, because right now the wind is picking up right now. I can see it on the tent, but I can't feel it. There's no wind in here. Being protected from the wind will actually make the underquilt and overquilt and things like that work better against the cold. Usually I have no problem if it's cold. You can actually protect yourself against the cold pretty good, but if it gets windy, it's much harder. Let's say like this. Let's say it's -3 degrees or something like that. That's pretty cold. There is usually no problem with camping in -3 degrees if it's not windy. But if it's windy, those -3 degrees can feel like -8, or in worst case even -10 degrees, because you get the wind chill. So using a tent like this that actually blocks the wind makes it easier to keep the temperature inside of the hammock, even if you don't use the stove and the hot tent option. Of course, it's much nicer to use the hot tent option, because then you get a hot tent, but you should never actually let the stove go by itself, because as I said, I got an ember up in the roof there, and it only burned a hole, but it could also easily light the tent on fire, and you don't want to be sleeping if that happens. There is no use trying to put the fire out or anything like that, because that's usually useless in these tents. If they catch fire, they burn to the ground. The best option, if you see the tent catching fire, get out. Just get out. Save your life, or at least save yourself from getting badly burned. Well, that was not the point actually. The point was just that You don't want to sleep and have your stove going, because if that happens and you don't react, it can end up really, really bad. So it's better to let it burn out, rely on the heat from the sleeping system, and you still got the protection from the wind and the rain, of course, or snow or whatever from the tent. And that in combine will actually be pretty nice, because I slept like this. I had only this t-shirt, and I had a thin quilt. You saw it the last time I camped. It's a thin fleece quilt I have. I used that again. I had a heavier quilt with me, but I didn't use that. I didn't need to. I used my fleece quilt, and it kept me perfectly warm here. And the temperature this night was somewhere around 3 degrees, I believe, 2-3 degrees Celsius. And in the morning here, it went down to just over zero degrees Celsius. But I was warm enough. There was no wind in here. I had the underquilt. I have my fleece quilt. And yeah, no problem at all. What I did in this episode, the second episode of the TEMU camping gear video, was that I actually used the hammock that I used in the first episode. And if you haven't seen that episode and don't know what I'm talking about here, you can always go back and look at that video where I present the hammock, I present the underquilt, and I also present some other things that I didn't need in this camp, like the bug net. I don't need a bug net because it's too cold for bugs. There are no mosquitoes, no flies, no anything. I didn't use that, but I did use this hammock, this Noname hammock, that I actually think it's a little bit too short for me, and it actually is. But I didn't want to take my other hammock, because this was supposed to be part 2 of the TEMU camping gear video. So I thought like this, I will use the same gear that I'm actually bought in the first video for what I need here. So I used the hammock, I used the underquilt, that and the straps. That's what I used from the last camp. And what I added was this tent. And that made it go from being a late spring, summer and early autumn system to being a full year around system. Because now you can do all those seasons, and you can add on late autumn, winter and early spring also with this system. I'm not sure exactly how low you can go, not with this setup. Perhaps if you acquire yourself a really good overquilt, you could probably go down to 15 minus or 20 minus or something like that. But with this setup and just a quilt that I have, that's a little bit steep, I think. So I would add perhaps with this heavier quilt I have, I could go down to minus 10 or something. I don't know, I'm not sure. But anyway, this is about what I have and what I have used. So what I have used is the Noname hammock, the underquilt, the Geertop underquilt. And that works perfect all night. And it kept me warm, and it kept me dry, and it kept me out of the wind. So everything has been a success. And the most important thing, I didn't go over budget. Since I used my home-built stove, I used stovepipes that I already had. I bought food, but that was not in the challenge at all. Why I put it in the challenge in the first episode was because I had the ability to do that, because I haven't reached the budget I haven't reached the budget. There were like $20 left on that camp, so I used those to buy food. In this one I didn't have that, so I used my own money to buy food because I wanted food. But that wasn't anything that was in the rules, or it wasn't even meant to be in the budget in the first one. I just put it there because I could. In this one, I couldn't, so the food wasn't included. But what needed to be included was included. And as I said in the beginning, this setup, when you buy it, you actually get what you need to use it. You get a paracord to put in all the places. You get the stove jacks and so on, and you get the tilt pegs and so. So it's actually ready to use, but I want to upgrade it a little bit, so I will change out the paracord holding the tent up to strap, just because it's a bit stronger, and I think it's more reliable. But you don't need to do that to use it. I have in this camp I have used the paracord, so, and it has worked perfectly, no problem at all. And you could probably even put on some additional paracord and use the, as I said, make a ridge line with it, and it would be just perfect. But I will use the ridge line, and I will also use the straps, so that will be extra upgrade. And the next camp I do with this one, I will take the poles with me, the 4 poles, and use them also. So everything that I can upgrade, I will upgrade, and that's the thing I will do. I will put the straps up there, and I will use the poles in the corners, and I will also make my stove jack more watertight. So that's the upgrades I will do. And I will also patch that small burn hole that you can see now. So that's it for this. And yeah, let's get this setup taken down. I will start taking this camp down from the inside a little bit slowly, because the stove is still going. I'm burning the last of the wood, so I don't need to take that back home. So I will actually start with a underquilt. And here's the bag for the underquilt, like so. No, that was the hammock. Well, actually I can start with the hammock. That doesn't matter. And then we do the same on this side. Just clip it off and roll it up. Down, 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 down. Like that. And pull cord is there. Like that. I will also put the straps. I always put the straps in the same bag as the hammock, so I won't put that away yet. I will just put it to the side. Now it's time for the underquilt. Just check the underquilt so it's not full of crap, I mean, not scrap. Like that. And then we clip that also over here, like so. Try not to put it on the ground. So then I will clip it on the other side. And then I try to make a roll. And here is the bag for it. I just need to find the opening. Then we just push it down into the bag. Then we compress the bag. Now I just need to go out and collect my straps. Right there on the other side of the lake there, that's an island. It starts there and it goes to there, and there is water all around it. I'm gonna camp on that island someday. I'm not sure if it's gonna be this year or next year, but I'm gonna camp there. Yeah. Let's see if we can pop this milk container. No, it seems just to slowly burn.
Through the world's wide open door, I wander far where whispers grow, a forest corner no one knows. Lonely corner where I'm free, swinging soft with the forest breeze. Don't care where I'm from. I hunt for truth, not just a meal. It's here my soul begins to heal. The fire glows, it warms my skin, lights the shadows deep within. To stay. It's home to me.
So everything is packed and stowed away, nice and tight. So it's pretty much time to do a small recap of this camp. And what can we say about it? Well, I liked the tent. It worked well. It kept me warm and dry and everything, and it's a neat size and it's a good concept. and it's versatile because you can use it both in the winter, you can use it as a summer tent without the stove, you can use it as an ordinary tent, an ordinary hot tent, you can use it just as a shelter for hammock camping, or you can use it as a hot tent for hammock camping. So it has many uses, and yeah, I like the design, but there are some flaws. As I said before, there should be something up in the roof, either hooks or straps, so you can put up lights or whatever you want to hang there. The other thing is, in the same concept, there are not one storage space in the tent. You can't put anything anywhere because there are no pockets, nothing. So that's a drawback. But besides that, it's a good tent, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do, and it does it good. And with my stove and this size of stove, it's very easy to keep it warm. And I also have to give credit to my stove. It's very efficient. If you pack it full and take the airflow down, it will burn for hours, like 2.5 hours or something like that. I have actually no complaints other than those about this setup, and it makes this setup very useful, because now you can use it both in the summer with a tarp and yeah, ordinary hammock camping, and you can use it in the autumn and spring with the underquilt and overquilt and things like that, and then you can use it in the winter time with the tent and the stove. So with this setup, you can actually hammock camp with ease and breeze year round, and it's very comfortable. I recommend this. That's why I have done these videos also, because I wanted to see if I can buy something really cheap that's still usable and is meant for being used like this, and do it on a budget. And I think I had a pretty low budget. I believe most of you watching has no problem with buying this setup. I mean, at this point, having a year-round setup for under $200, that's actually pretty crazy. But that also means that you have to make your own stove. If you already have a stove, well, then it's great. But buying a stove to this will add at least $150 to $200 more. So that will double the cost. So that's something to have in mind. Still, let's say you pay somewhere between $400, $450 for everything, and you have a full setup. That's still cheap. If you go to an outdoor store and try to buy all of this, you're looking at perhaps $1,000. I don't know exactly, but I would say somewhere between $700 to $1,000. Yeah, probably. I won't give TEMU too much credit here, because there are other sites, and I intend to try to do more of these videos with other retailers, but for now I don't really know exactly which way those videos are gonna go, because doing the same thing again with another retailer, that feels a little bit boring, I think. So I will try to figure something out, something funny, and do the next video with another retailer in some other way, but still in this concept. Of course, I will not buy a hammock setup. That's already done now, so that will be something else. I was intending to do a AliExpress setup, and I started that video. You have perhaps already seen it, and then I thought that this is not really what this is about. So I aborted that mission and made an ordinary camping video that I just tried it out, pretty much. And I tried out the stove also. So that was not really something that went the way it was meant to go from the beginning. But it ended up good anyway. But the next one I do in this concept will be something completely different. And as I said, I don't know right now what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna figure something out. And I'm not sure if it's gonna be during this winter. Probably it will be coming up in the spring. And between that, there will be some ordinary camping videos probably. And of course, my other kind of videos, the repair videos, the review videos and testing videos of other things. Those will be coming up over the winter. So I still think you should subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and perhaps push the, yeah, you heard it, the like button. And please give a comment. If you have anything on your mind, please give me a comment. Or if you don't have anything on your mind, just write hello or a thumbs up or whatever. But comment and share. Remember to share this video with your friends, with your colleagues, whatever. So they also have the chance to see this, because YouTube works in mysterious ways. But you already know that. Well, I have one more thing. I have gotten some questions. Yes. And I'm intending to answer a couple of them at least. I'm pretty fascinated over how much you actually see on these videos that I'm not showing and not thinking about at all. But you have eyes for things. I have noticed that. And one thing you have noticed is that on my backpack I have some things hanging on it, especially on this side, and it's this knife. I have got many questions of what knife is that? Is that something you can buy? No, you can't buy this one, because I will show you. This knife I have built myself. The blade is a hunting blade from a Norwegian company. It's a quality blade from Brusletto that I bought separately, and then I bought some redwood and I made this handle to it, and it's specially formed to really fit my hand perfectly. And I made it very short because I don't want it to stick out any extra. So this is, as I said, a knife that I made many years ago. It has seen a lot of use. It's a little bit burnt, things like that, and it has a chip here and things like that, but it's still a very good knife. And why I like this blade is because it's a one-edge blade. It goes from here all the way to the edge. There is no secondary edge, so it's very, very, very sharp, this knife, and it stays very sharp for a long time. And it also has this release groove here. If you, yeah, you know what you do with them, I won't tell it because somebody will get offended if I do. Anyway, so this is a homemade knife, so you can't buy this one. I'm sorry. Some of you even did some guessing, and a couple of you guessed that this was a Ukrainian made knife, but it isn't. It's actually homemade. And this holder that is sitting here, it's actually hard plastic, and this was actually from the beginning a holder for a saw. It was much longer. It was like double the length, and there was a saw in this, and I shortened it down, and I made catching system, or what you should call it. So when you put the knife in here and you press it down like that, it stays there. It doesn't come out. So it's secure in its place. And you can double secure it by putting the strap on it also. So if it for some reason releases, it will be catched on this guard here, so it can't fall out. Otherwise, on the backpack on the side here, I always carry with me my fire starter. It's just a simple fire starter. If I for some reason can't use my gas burner or a lighter or anything, I have always this with me. So it's just a simple one with a carbiner here, so I can use it whenever I want it. And on this other side here, this is actually a foldable bowl or plate or something that you can put food or water or whatever in. And I have this with me because I have a dog, and when the dog is with me, I can serve water and food in this bowl. So it's not for me mainly, it's for the dog. And it's the same there, it's just hooked with a carbiner. So yeah, it's dog bowl practically, but it's foldable. So those are the things hanging on the outside of the bag. And I also usually on this side have my water system attached that you saw earlier in this video. I put it here and I strap it on with these there are these mold system here that I attach it to down here also, and I carry my water system on the outside of the bag here, and you might have seen that also. I didn't get any questions about that, but I'm just saying that that's the thing that usually hangs on the outside of the bag. So those were the questions I got about the system I carry. So what I will do now, I will pack this on my back and carry all these things out of the woods and go homewards, because yeah, as last time we have tested what we should test here, and we have done a successful camp, and yeah, everything went well. And I have cleaned up the camping site here. I have left the wood that was already here. There was some wood lying there. I didn't touch that, so that will be for somebody else or me, because this spot is the same spot I did my AliExpress camp at. And why I chose this place is because this is a little bit secluded. There is really nobody around here. I can be pretty much alone, and that's good when I'm doing this, because you don't want people around. When you film, they can make sounds and things like that that you don't want. So this is a little bit of a corner, a lonely corner I have. And if you like that song that you heard earlier, you can actually find a link to it down here somewhere. And there are a lot of other songs also there that's really good. Go check them out. And don't forget that you can still get the outdoor design t-shirt and hoodie in my shop, and a lot of other footwear. You have t-shirts, a lot of t-shirts, you have Bluetooth speakers and stickers and a lot of things. Go check it out. There is a lot of fun there. And then I also have my Patreon site and my Buy Me a Coffee site. If you would like to give me some support, you can still do that, but it won't cost you anything, by subscribing, liking and sharing. That's something I really appreciate if you do. So do that. Well, with these surroundings, it's hard to go from this place, but I have to do that for this time. But I will be back here soon again. Maybe not right here, but somewhere around here. So until then, bye.